It's complete to Brown, right side. Back to throw again. They're going on fourth down with Hurts. And throwing is Hurts. And back to throw here. They'll look to throw again. Packer pressure.
All right, guys, welcome back to Zano Football. Definitely appreciate the support. I wanted to get into a video where I decided to run the 3-high, 3-3-5 penny formation against a guy who strictly played empty the entire game. And at first glance, I always thought that, the penny formation wasn't something that I was a fan of running against empty. But in this game, I decided to go ahead and give it a try, and it's actually very effective, at least in this game. All right, so we'll go ahead and run it. So he goes gun empty trade. So at the beginning of the game, I'm like, all right, so I'm not going to play penny 3-3-5 3-high. I'm going to play my normal stuff. And then I notice, okay, now he's motioning. Okay, so really quickly, I'll go over what I was doing here. I've made a video on what I like to do against empty, at least one of the things. All right, on the weak side, I like to bring the apex in, and then I'll take the 3 rec and mug a gap. All right, and what I'm trying to do is to simulate pressure up front. And a lot of times my opponents panic and they throw into coverage, etc. We're still matching on the back end. He's still a 2-to-1 read. He's still 2-1. All right, so if he goes out, then he can match it, etc. We're still trapping on the back end. Definitely go check out my video on defending empty, I believe is the video I called it. All right, but here's one of the issues with match coverage. All right, maybe not an issue if you're a sound team, is when they motion and they change the strength of the formation. All right, because the rules, it changes. All right, and if someone on the team, so the computer is going to be fine. Okay, but you as the user, if you don't know the rules of the coverage, or maybe you know the rules of the coverage against the original set, but when they motion and change it over to the other side, okay, if you're not very good at quickly adapting into knowing the rules and how it changes, then match can be a problem. All right, so I'll go ahead and play it. So when I saw this, see, this is a problem on my end here, all right? So I say all that and I'm the dummy, right? Because now this guy is in a 3-2 read. This guy here is we're playing stubby on the 3 receiver side. Well, if they get 2 vertical routes here, he's going to have to match this man to man. He's going to take this, and this is going to be wide open. Okay, so we have alignment issues. So, I mean, this is a good clip right here to show how, me moving this guy in and then me mugging the gap. And then when he motions over, it really ruins what I was trying to do. And now what I should have done is reset and get this guy back into a better position. All right, because the rules kind of changed here. All right, so I'll leave it at that. This is not the point of the video. The point of this clip right here is to show what he was doing up front. He would motion oh, I did. Okay. So I did. So I realized it. All right. So that's why it's important to know the rules and the coverage. All right. So point of this clip right here is just to show, you see what he's doing, right? He motioned every single play. All right. So now when I show these clips, the following clips, it'll be after the motion so we can cut through the unwanted time in the video. So after the first 2 or 3 plays, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna run the penny formation, the 3 high. Okay. And I'm going to see how it works. You know, I run a cover two scheme, guys. All right, let me back up a little bit. And in the 3 unique things about 3 high that I showed in a previous video, all right, I showed how one of the reasons why I was originally not a fan of 3 high against like trips or empty type sets is because we don't have a cover down on the outside here. All right. But in that video, I showed how when you press the defense, the Joker will align to the passing strength of the formation. So he should come over here because this is the passing strength. I meant no cover down on this guy. It's no cover down on this guy as well, but we can alleviate the problem of this. All right. And I want you to watch what happens. So a real interesting thing happens here. So I press. And then once he motions, I didn't know that it would do this. Once he motions this guy over and makes this side the strong side, I didn't do anything. The nickel just naturally moves over with the motion to the strong side. So that's really cool with the 3 high formation here. All right, so now we're going to get into some action here. We have 15 plays. We're not, it's not looking good right now. All right, so let me draw up the routes here. He's going to run a fade, run a corner, going to whip out. All right, so this is what he was doing all game. Not this exact route combination. Okay, but he was just attacking underneath with these annoying underneath drags and whip routes and return routes and all that. This is all he was doing all game, guys. All right. And, you know, you may look at cover 2 and think this is not a good coverage against this. But again, cover 2 to me is such a sound coverage for Tampa 2. And you're going to see that throughout this game. All right. So I was playing games on the outside, and what we can do on the outside is, so a lot of times, you know, when this guy's a little bit too far towards the boundary, all right, so I'm user in the corner here. All right, well, I don't think it's really necessary for me to play in the traditional alignment as this corner. Sometimes I like to apex or split the 2 and the 1, and I like to play games that way. All right, so, you know, with this route combination, snap of the ball, we can kind of sink, close this window off to where the safety should have no problems dealing with this. And I think he's going to dump it off to the whip underneath. All right, but we're going to get into some more interesting stuff as the video progresses. This is the first play. I think I have 15 plays to go over, so let me go ahead and run it. I don't know what's going to happen. So right here, you know, notice how the 1 and the 2 are climbing. So I'm sinking, and I'm looking down to the flat as that's happening. And at this point, I realize, all right, my safety should be fine at this point. I've sunk with him pretty far. And now I'm going to start driving on the flat route because I see the quarterback throwing the ball. And we make a tackle. And what do you know? He's got 3 yards on that play, right? So we see, you know, with the whip or the drag or whatever, and a cover 2 that gives routes up underneath, he still only got 3 yards as long as we play sound on the back end and make a tackle. That's what cover 2 is all about. All right, so play 2. He's going to do the drag route stuff here. And he's going to do a funky fade post here. So I don't remember what happened here as regards to what I did. So again, here's the thing I like to do. When they're on the boundary, I like playing the corner against empty sets or a detached set on the side. And I like to play games. I like to, again, split the 1 and the 2. And we can play games with how we bail. We can play games with slinging out to the outside shoulder of the wide receiver. Okay, you can play a lot of games with this. And the reason why I like to give this alignment and split the 1 and the 2 is because, first of all, we're not necessarily too afraid of the safety being pressured with 2 vertical routes because there's less space due to them being on the boundary, and he should be able to better handle 2 vertical routes, especially if we just sync with it to close some of these windows. All right, that's number 1. And number 2, we're setting up later blitz packages that we can incorporate with this because, cover 2 is really a split safety structured defense. So we could do whatever we want on this side of the defense and not really ruin some of the integrity on the front side there. So sometimes what I like to do is, again, play Tampa 2, but then I will blitz the corner from this position. That's the whole point. We're layering our alignments in a way to where we can kind of complement exotic blitz packages that we can throw in later. A little tongue twister there. All right. And I like doing that because later on in the game, when I do blitz this guy, okay, then when I start lining up in this position, it gives the threat that we could be coming at any moment. So it makes the user have to process more information post snap. You can't just look strong side at the snap of the ball. You're running some concept on the strong side at the snap of the ball. You got to look here first and then get your eyes that way if I don't blitz. And a lot of times guys will make mistakes because they have to process more information. All right, so I'll go ahead and play it. Okay, so again, now I'm sinking underneath, and then when I pass him off and I feel like the safety should be able to handle that, we crash underneath. A little bit too aggressive there. I probably should have played a little bit more top down due to the wall 2 player doing a good job there. And obviously he had nowhere to go there. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and run some stuff here. And you can rewind, but we got some pretty good pressure there. Okay, so it's 4th and 1, right? So we got to exactly look at the pressure we get on our pass rusher there. He dumps it off underneath, and we make a tackle, and it's 4th and 1. That's a win, right? That is a win. So 4th down, all we got to do is get a stop. So this is where I don't like playing cover 2 against, a down in distance. I will not play cover 2. It's like 4th and 1, 4th and 2, maybe 4th and 3 again, because we have a natural no cover zone that cover 2 will just give up stuff. And I'm not a big fan of using the underneath adjustment while playing cover 2 because then you're just exposed in so many different areas of the field when you do that. Having a bad morning. All right. So I tried to pick a man coverage and I messed up and picked the wrong coverage. So I was kind of mad at myself for that. And he's able to throw it to the flat and get a first down. That's okay. So here's the exotic blitz I was talking about. We didn't get home. But this is an example, right? So the apex again, but now I'm blitzing them. And then we man up the remaining receivers by the apex and the safety. Now, I haven't labbed a way to get this guy coming scot-free, okay? So I will optimize this type of look. But a lot of times it's not really to get home, although I do want to make this guy get home at some point. So I got to optimize it, make it better with the front. All right, I will eventually. But the whole idea was to show, hey, look, I will do this. Okay, that's all this was about. Okay, and get a minimal game for the offense. But I just want to put it in your mind that when I give this alignment, there's a threat of this guy coming at any moment in the game, right? That's a win for us, all right? So we'll go ahead and play it. A lot of times, I do certain things just to put things on the mind of the user, and I can't tell you how many times they make mistakes upon doing this. Maybe one time in the game. Sometimes that's all you need. All right, so he gets a first down. And I believe he ends up scoring here. My soft squat didn't trap that good enough, but that's okay. All right, and that would be the last time he scored in the game. Okay. So we can take a look at the routes he's going to do here. All right, so, we can look at just you can see what guys do. Like, it just doesn't make any sense what he's doing here, right? It's just poor route structure here. Okay. I mean, you're not stretching defenders. You're not putting players into conflict. I mean, your best bet maybe is this honey hole shot here. But again, with cover two, if this guy reroutes and kind of splits the area in between the flat and the honey hole shot, that's not really, I mean, it's a common misconception that the honey hole is just wide open against cover two. It's just, you need a good route. You need routes that complement one another in a way to put pressure on that honey hole shot. And you can't really just do it with random routes and just someone running up the sideline, So we'll go ahead and run it. I don't remember who he threw it to here. Okay, so he dumps it underneath. So he catches the ball maybe 2 yards away from the LOS. Okay. So, we can live with that. All right. You pick up 6 yards there, and we'll just move on to the next down, right? But I'm giving you an example how when they dump it off, it's not, you shouldn't get mad at, okay, hey, they keep running the drags or whatever, at least while playing cover two, because that's what we want. You dump it off. As long as we make a tackle before you get, a really big gain, that's, I don't want to say that's a win for us, but it's not a loss. Okay. And again, with cover two, you're trying to rip the ball out. You're trying to make a big hit because we're going to have 8, 9, 10 players rallying to the ball once you dump it off underneath. So if I miss the tackle, it's not a big deal because I have my friends coming in to clean it up. All right. So we'll move on. And now he's going to throw the honey hole shot here. He's going to make a completion. And this is a prime example of why I believe that you need to user corners and safeties to make cover two play so much better. Because you're going to see how the computer plays this terribly, right? So he's going to run just a fade right up to the honey hole shot there, right? And he's going to go to the flat. And I want you to watch how the computer plays this. Okay. Doesn't reroute him, allows him to get outside, right? That's you can't do that as an outside corner here. Maybe it's okay into the boundary. Okay, so I take that back. All right. But taking a clean outside release, I'm not a fan of because now you put so much pressure on the safety if the number two were to climb up the seam as well. All right. So the number two wasn't doing that. I think the number two was on a whip route here. Okay. So as the cloud flat, if you could reroute this guy to the inside and then he takes his route up to the seam, you relieve the pressure of the safety to where he can deal with that. And then you can split or sync with it in anticipation to trigger down on this whip route to the outside. All right. So excuse my poor art. Having a rough morning here. So he rips it. And even, with a bad play on the outside, all right, he has to throw in rhythm on time with accuracy to get it in that little hole there, right? So the very next play, now I'm going to show this motion because he was doing this every play. So I didn't show it before, but I'm showing it the next play for this reason. Because I would user the right side corner in almost every play, right? So I believe I did in the last play as well. So I knew he was going to do the same thing. So my idea was to move around as this corner, as if, hey, I'm going to be usering this corner again, and then switch over to this corner and not move at all. So I give the illusion that I'm still over here. Okay, and now I know you're going to run that fade honey hole shot on this side, but guess what? It's not the computer over here. It's someone more competent. All right. So we'll go ahead and run it and we'll see what happens. And you'll see that he will panic. So watch how I move over there. And now I'm like, all right, don't move. Right. And now notice how we don't allow him to take an outside release or get outside of us. We force him inside, which helps out our safety, right? So he's already abandoned throwing this. The second he saw me over here, it surprised him because he didn't even wait to see how it would pan out on this side, right? And it's not like he's being pressured right now. So I think he just abandoned it right away when he noticed that I was over here because I surprised him with that, right? But you could see what I was going to do. I was going to sync with this to maybe about 10 yards so the safety would be able to deal with that. And then kind of hang in the flat and trigger down on a throw to this whip route. All right, so we'll go ahead and run it. I believe he went underneath to the whip route over here. And what I like about the wall 2 player in this formation with the linebacker is he will actually like hang kind of low on some of these routes. All right, so we'll go ahead and watch it. You can rewind it if you want. And look at, I mean, that's just really good. I don't think he got a yard. It's 2nd and 10. He threw an underneath route and got no yards, right? That's a win for cover 2 there. All right, so now we're going to get into some sacks. And I'll show you the configuration of what I was doing up front. I got like 6 sacks in this game. All right. And you can't beat getting pressure with your front 4 while playing cover 2. That's what makes cover 2 10 times better. If you can get pressure with your front 4, cover 2 is king. Okay. And I want you to watch how clean of a sack we get here with the front 4. Yeah, I mean, he just comes scot-free. So I'll go over what I did later on in the video. Okay, so it's 3rd and 21. So this is where I'm like, all right, now I'm going to get away from 3 high and I'm going to play cover 0 because I'm not going to give you the time to have routes to develop. And in the game of Madden, they have a route in the game that is poorly coded. So it's an inside release post. They take an inside release, they stem upfield, and then they run a post. And it really fools around with the coding of man-to-man coverage to where they don't play inside of the route. Okay, you'll see it here, and it's just a clean, easy throw for an offense. I think it's kind of, I wish they would clean that up. All right, and you'll see it here, and I'm pretty sure he probably got this from YouTube somewhere, okay, because I've seen this a number of times. All right, watch the outside corner, right? You see how he's supposed to play inside leverage, and that inside burst release by the number 1. Now he has inside leverage. I mean, he's given up inside leverage to the receiver, right? And again, with cover 0, we guarantee someone coming scot-free. Oh, I got the wrong thing here. So even though, you know, he's beat here, at least we are pressuring the quarterback. He's got to get rid of the ball now, but he does get rid of the ball, and he makes an inside throw, and he's going to get a first down here, right? So I was irritated with this because I had won by getting him to 3rd and 21. That's what we want. And now I know, okay, I got to watch out for that inside post release if I'm playing cover zero. All right, because I know he's just going to run that knowing that it cooks the coding of the game in man-to-man coverage out there. All right, so here we're going to get a sack, obviously, and we get that same animation up front. He has no time to do anything. Here, the route combination he's going to run is I think he runs an inside post. Okay, so, you know, we can look at this. Okay, I'm playing over here. It's probably good to reroute this guy, climb, and then once he declares that he's going inside and I don't have to climb and close the honey hole, all right, that's when I can be aggressive on this flat, right? Usually I like to hang high in the flat and let the quarterback take me to the flat with a ball thrown. But with a certain route combination like this is where we can kind of be a little bit more aggressive into the flat and attach to the route before he throws the ball, because we're not threatened by anything up the field on this side. We don't have to help out our safety with this route combination. All right, so that's just going off of that route combination, but I don't think he threw to that side. I think he scrambled here. So look how I got a reroute there, right? We got the reroute. I'm probably going to climb outside shoulder to make sure that, you know, we help our safety on any honey hole shot. Okay, and then he scrambles. Get that out of there. Had nowhere to go. Get to 3rd and 9. Okay, I gotta, this is cover 6 invert. And I think we have a problem here with this coverage. I think we have a big problem here. So I won't go over this, but if they have it coded as stubby on this side of the field, this guy is cooked, right? This guy's cooked. Actually, it kind of ties into, wow, the irony in this is earlier in the game, I played regular palms. And remember, I motioned this guy in on the weak side, and then he motioned into this set. And now they turn into stubby check on this side. And what did I do? I moved that quarter flat back up and outside because I know that he's responsible for number 2 deep if number 3 and number 2 go vertical. Well, that's the same problem here. Okay. If we're in a stubby check while playing cover 6 against this look, if we get 2 vertical routes here, okay, our safety is going to take this, and then now you have to take this guy, and that is a touchdown there. So we have alignment issues while playing cover 6 invert against this. So hopefully, I wish they would maybe switch that up. I really don't like that, but it kind of is what it is. I wasn't thinking here, right? I was not thinking. So we got, you know, kind of lucked out with an offense that really is not, the way he structures his offense, he's not attacking deep. He doesn't have any vertical route concepts in his game. Everything's underneath. Everything's send a couple of guys on streaks. So if you get a busted coverage, I can just rip it to him. If not, I'm throwing it underneath on these drags and whips and returns. That's his game, right? So here we get 4th and inches. So again, obviously I'm not in cover 2. Now I'm playing cover 1 man. Press action. And when I saw him do this, okay, now I know you're doing the motion to see if it's man-to-man coverage. Okay, you're probably not all that great in reading coverage. You wanted to make sure it was man. So one thing I like to do against players like that, okay, notice I didn't audible immediately. Wait a little bit. And then once he started motioning, that's when I audibled. Right? So now we move with that movement, but players tend to think that I'm still in man-to-man coverage, right? So I play cover 3 cloud, and then this is where I use the coverage underneath function, because he's a guy he just wants to attack underneath. I use one of the hook curl defenders, and I'm just going to hang low in the underneath area of the field, and he got confused there. He didn't know where to go. Tried to run outside, but we quarterback contain. He wants to go back inside, but the monster is on his heels, and he's going to get whacked. So like 2 plays later, I got a touchdown. I believe he was in cover 2. I changed the pass protection. So now the back is responsible for this guy. We get a slide to these 3 players, and then we're big on big here. So I'm good in protection. At the snap of the ball, I'm not even looking down here because I know I'm good. And I love this play. It's one of my favorite plays in the game. I torch cover 2 with this coverage. I torch cover 3 with this coverage. I torch spot drop zone. Not coverage, but play. He's a user. I think he's the pole runner. And you're going to see, this is why I don't like the middle read player being a linebacker. All right. Because he's put into conflict with play action. And I don't like 3rd level defenders being put into conflict in the running game. And you'll see why. Okay. So he has a run fit. And at the snap of the ball, we're giving the illusion that we may be running the ball. And look how he steps forward. All right. And when he's wrong, well, instead of you being more like here at one point in the play, you'll see he'll be way down here. So now, you know, that window down the middle of the field is wide open because play action drew him up into the box. Okay. But on top of that, this play is layered. So he's far underneath, right? We have the drag. We have an inside dig over here, and then we have a switch release post here. All right. So he's underneath because of the play action, and then he's going to stay underneath because this crosses his face. And if he so happens to climb after that, he can get in the window of the dig, and this is just wide open. The only way you would not throw this is if the safety hung really hard inside on that route. But if he did, now you have the fade pattern on the outside. This is one of my favorite plays in the game. I've gotten so many big plays running this this play here. Okay. Get a touchdown. So we're on play 14. We're almost done here. This one, I believe, well, not believe because I have my notes here. The number 2. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing here. The number 2 here is going to run like a drag. And I believe the linebacker sits really low. That's what I like about this Tampa 2 from this formation. And I think he makes a tackle. Right? Okay, so that's the number 3. I meant the number 2 on the outside. I like how he kind of hangs low, right? So, you know, we didn't make the tackle. That's okay, but we can kind of deter throws there. All right. Here we're going to get another sack. So I think what my opponent was doing was he was staying in the empty pass set, which is, I'll show you in a later clip, why all he had to do to deal with this problem, with this stunt, was to simply slide or get into a base pass protection, and he would have been fine. But obviously he didn't. So I got a lot of sacks in this game with the stunt. Here I'm splitting between the 1 and the 2. Okay. Look how I'm climbing inside of that fade to help out my safety. And then once he throws, drive and get a tackle, right? We've won. We got it to 4th and 1. That's a win. 4th and inches. That is a win. And here he does it again, right? He does it again. He motions and then he motions back. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch to play. And he doesn't know where to go. This was mastery by the corner on the outside. I got to rewind and show that again. I like how the corner on the outside, so I did the underneath coverage here. The corner on the outside played this perfectly. All right, when you think about the divider, it's the same like in cover one man, right? Because he's outside of the divider. If we were in man-to-man coverage, you want to play with inside leverage of this receiver. It's the same in cover three. It is the same, right? So an outside safety in deep third. The divider rules are the same, right? So he wants to play with inside leverage as the corner there. And watch how he plays it. Oh, and also we got free pressure here. But watch how the corner plays this. He plays this poetically, right? Climbing, climbing, climbing will not allow an inside release. Drives on the ball for an interception. So we won the game. We held him to 8 points. Okay. And, you know, yeah, he had 78 completion percentage, but again, all he was doing was dumping it off underneath. We were rallying and making a tackle, and we were not allowing a big play down the field. That's what Tampa 2 was all about. And we ran 3 high against empty, and all we did was press every single play to make sure that the Joker's safety would align to the passing strength of the formation. And even with motion, if they motion from one side to the other side, and we make the other side the passing strength, the Joker will move with that motion to stay on the strong side of the formation, right? So this is easily my favorite formation in the game. And let's get into what he could have done to deal with the problem of the stunt. So all I did, if you want to know the stunt, all I did every single play, I believe this is the TE stunt. I would TE stunt. I would pass commit up. Okay, I always pass commit against empty sets because you're not running the ball, right? And then I would quarterback contain. That's all I did. Oh, and then I would shift up, and I would get this really nice animation. So I went to the practice field and I ran it to see, and it would get through like every single time against the automatic pass set by the offense. So I got the other controller and I looked at the way it's set, and it looks like they are almost sliding to the mic, which really doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is not good at all, right? Making him the hot here, which is fine, but the way it looks like they're sliding to the mic is just, to me, not optimal at all. So I wonder if what happens here is we're in a combination block with this guy and I'm keying this guy. All right, but we have a stunt here. I think it's the pirate stunt. I don't remember. It's going to fly over this way. I'm going to get to the replay. And the center is almost like locked into man-to-man with the nose, right? Because we're combo blocking to this guy. And when he loops over that strong right away, the center is almost like locked into, okay, I got to get this guy man-to-man. Okay. And the problem really is the guard, the left guard, right? So I'm getting my guy. You got to stay on your guy, but he doesn't. It's almost like when he sees this action here, he thinks he has to deal with this guy, right? So we get like a 2-on-1 here, and he comes free every single time. So that's why I was getting sacks in the game. So I like to go to the practice field and look at why things happened. He would not change his protection. He stayed in that same protection all game. So all he had to do is go to base. And when we go to base, what happens? Well, now we get in I believe it's called a 5-0 call. So we're just handling the line of scrimmage as a unit up front. All right, which obviously makes this guy the hot. If he comes, we are not blocking him. We got to throw hot off of that guy. All right, but the whole game, he should have noticed that, my guy was not coming here, right? I was playing strictly cover 2. He didn't have to worry about that. And he would have been fine with the way he was running routes anyway, because if I came, he could dump it off on an underneath route. I got to change the verbiage there, if you know what I mean. So now that we're locked, okay, the guard is not going to kind of bug out. He's going to stay on his guy, and you'll see how cleanly they pick it up now. So I did the same setup, and look at how he's clean, right? All he had to do was switch the protection. He also could have played slide. Just slid to the left. I did it again. Clean pocket, right? So here's the half slide. All right, and now we get a 4-man slide to deal with these guys. And then you're big on big. And now we're hot off of this guy. I really don't like that formation, so to speak. I don't like making him the hot, if you don't know what I'm getting at here. All right. But I'd still rather run this as opposed to that empty check that the game had it in. Right. And watch how we pick up. Okay, slide should theoretically be sound against stunts, right? We don't care which way you guys are going because we're sliding to our gap, right? You're always stronger on the slide side of your protection, always. Okay, as opposed to your man-to-man side. Okay, stunts can really mess with the man-to-man side of pass protection. And look how cleanly we picked that up. So here I'm like, you know what? Well, what if I wanted to slide, but I didn't want to keep that guy as the hot? Very simple. Slide, and then change the hot. Make this guy the unblocked defender. That's what I want, because I want us to slide for these 3 and then be big on big for these guys. And that's what we get. Okay. Now, if you kept that guy as the hot, it's not a big deal, right? If we kept it where we slid here, picked him up, and now we're hot off of this guy, it's not a big deal, because if he comes, I gotta change that. If he rush, okay. Well, now you just throw hot, right? Like this area of the field is vacated when he rushes at the quarterback. So we can easily exploit that by throwing hot, right? Because we don't have someone hanging underneath in this space, okay? So it's fine, you know what I mean? But I still wanted to show how we could still use half slide, but made it to where we're big on big here and just get like a 3-man slide. And the easy way to do that is to change the hot defender by using the untargeted feature and put it on him, and then it will change it to where, okay, now we're sliding this way and we're big on big here, right? And you'll see how it picks it up cleanly, right? So all he had to do was to get into pass protection, all right? But obviously we could see throughout that game that he was running, like I hate to say it, like a gimmick style offense, underneath drag, underneath whip, everyone else go on seams, that was his game. All right. So So I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video. This video really was just to show how 3 high, originally I thought it wouldn't be something that I would like to run against empty. But with us being able to move the Joker safety to the passing strength of the formation, okay, it's actually a pretty adequate way to deal with empty, right? So I have a lot of different things that I run against empty. I will go to nickel and play the palms check. I'll play hot quarters from empty. So I have a video on that. And then now I like to stay in 3 high, play games from there. All right, so I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.